Are you ready to get your shit together? Isn't that what we are all truly trying to do? In this fun, life hack full show, we will learn together how to navigate this roller coaster called life. We, as glorious messy humans, can sit in the proverbial third car, grumpy and bored, or in the front of the roller coaster having the time of our lives. What do you choose? In this show, you can expect meaningful content and practical takeaway tools to make life easier and exceptionally more joyful. There will be epic guests who already love their lives, allowing them to share their get your shit together tips and words of wisdom. Life is too long and too short to not love your life. Welcome to Get Your Shit Together Live with Amy Joy. Hello and welcome to Get Your Shit Together Live with Amy Joy, and I'm your host, Amy Joy. And congratulations on your abundance. Right now, I want you to take a look around and just notice how abundant you really are. We are set to a program to see and feel and hear all the lack, and it's just not true. We are so abundant. So I want you to take a look around right now. Notice what you see, notice what you hear, notice what you taste. Notice how abundant you really are. I'm feeling very abundant today. I have the amazing Shawn Roop with us on the show. He is the founder of Tantra Quest, and he is a specialist in the subject of Tantra. This is a subject that has been massively misunderstood, and we are going to clear it up today on the show. So thank you for being here. Make sure you stay tuned to the end for mantra magic and meditation moment. It is a life hack full show as always. Thank you for spending your very precious time with us today. All right, it is time for Change Your State, Elevate. All right, this is the part of the show where we raise our frequency, we change our state, and we go from wherever we are to just a little more happy. So we're gonna review the Diamond of Freedom. This is what I personally use all day long, and it's honestly why I love my life so much, because these negative thoughts don't have very far to go, and I annihilate them. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. When we realize whatever we're feeling, we're gonna just notice. We're gonna notice whether we're crappy or happy. There's two states, right? We're either feeling crappy or happy, and when you realize it, you give yourself a high five. Congratulate yourself on becoming awake, becoming aware. All right, and now we're gonna move, and we're gonna move first by smiling, because smiling is the fastest way to become present, right? And we're gonna breathe, so breathe into the bottom of your belly, all the way in, all the way in, all the way in, hold at the top, and then exhale, and let the whole day go. Just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And breathe in again. And hold at the top. Let every cell get the oxygen, and exhale. And if you stick your tongue out, sometimes that helps a little extra. All right. And then we're going to move our body. All right. So there's lots of ways. I often will run in place. So we can do that. I'm going to sit and do it, but you sit and run or stand in place and just move, and breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. Just move. Move. Go for a walk, connect to nature, move your body, get out of whatever you're doing and change it up. That will help you feel differently. And then we're going to ask ourselves, what are we thankful for? This is the hack, guys. This is the hack. This is the fastest way out. Gratitude is the rocket ship to joy. All right. So what are you grateful for right now? I am grateful to be able to breathe. I am grateful that my heart beats 100,000 times a day and I don't have to ask it to. I'm thankful for that. That would get really annoying, right? What else are you grateful for? And then we're going to change the story, right? Change your story, change your life. So what are you telling yourself? Is it true? Often we're telling ourselves life is hard, right? I'm not enough. I'm too ugly. I'm too fat. I'm too whatever, right? No, it's not true. What's true? What's true is life is magical. What's true is life is amazing. What's true is if I don't know what to do, I'm going to figure it out, or I'm going to ask someone who does. That's what's true. Tell yourself the truth, and then connect to source. Connect to whatever you believe is a higher being, right? The other, the universe, God, and just ask for help because we're not alone. And that's the diamond of freedom. And when you do those things, you can go from depression to ecstasy. I'm telling you, you just have to practice. So hopefully that was helpful. The diamond of freedom. Go to Amy Joy Coaching. And if you share your email with me, I will give you a free download of the chapter called Training Your Elephant, which is all about the diamond of freedom and how you can choose to be happy as well. All right. It is now time for Get Your Shit Together. I feel so honored and privileged to have Shawn Roop here. Shawn is the founder of Tantra Quest in San Diego, has been offering classes there and events and tantric wisdom-based counseling since 2000. He is a teacher of teachers and has shared his work across the globe. He is a holder of the Mahamudra Tantra lineage and also draws upon the Rasa Tantra and the Saraha Tantra. Shawn, I'm sorry if I'm butchering this. Shawn holds a bachelor's in sociology and a master practitioner of NLP and certified tantric therapist and a certified master tantric counselor. I had the privilege of sitting down with him and getting to pick his brain and his heart and see who he is. And we are so blessed to have him. Put your hands together, hearts in the chat for the amazing Shawn Roop. Welcome to the show, Shawn.
Thank you, Joy. So wonderful to be here.
So great to have you. So I learned a new word from you. Demassify Tantra. I had to look it up, man. I didn't know what it meant. So according to dictionary, it says we're going to break it apart into its separate subjects. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to read a little quote from your website here. It says, Tantra is an ancient system from India that uniquely awakens the soul. It's a merging of spirit and body. In this marriage, a remembering comes. It's a way to return to your natural state of being, get clear, open your heart, and love from a place of freedom. Woo, we're all about freedom here. That results in a well-lived life. Shake off the fog, find your pace, and let your passion for living guide you on this fantastic journey. There are 5 essential elements in the foundation of Tantra: breath, sound, energy, meditative art, and embodiment. Beautiful.
Super simple, right?
Right. Super simple. Yeah. Well, I know you're very good at making it understandable, which is why you're here.
Cool.
So tell us more. And I say me because I'm really curious about this myself. So this is a little selfish having you here on the show.
Yeah, I love that.
And of course, all of our peeps want to know more as well. So tell us tell us what is sometimes to know what Tantra or anything is to know what it isn't. So what is Tantra not?
It's a good question, and it is everything. That's the problem.
Oh.
Tantra says yes to everything. And this becomes a complicated place because it still requires a person to know who they are, because Tantra will never judge or tell you what to do. So I've taught to Christians. I've taught to people who are of the Jewish faith. I've gone all over and broken through many of the typical walls. And the reason why is because Tantra actually works within all of those. It doesn't mean all of those work within, like we'll accept Tantra, but Tantra accepts all of those quite easily, because what it's at its inherent root, it's just about being in your state of truth. That's it.
State of truth, your own personal truth,
your own the innate truth that lives inside of you, that can't be given nor can it be taken. It's all yours and yours alone.
Wow. Okay.
And it's about returning to that state. So that's where our most green lights come from in life, where the part of our soul in our life just wants to move forward, because we're really on our projected path to live in, our purpose.
Yeah. And how old is Tantra?
Old. Yeah, it's a really hard question because it predates written language. So unfortunately, what happens is it's academic lines are really hard to follow because it was an oral tradition.
Okay. Oh, so it just passed down from
through dance, through food, through making love, through clothes, through jewelry, through poetry, through wrestling. There's all kinds of different ways that it was kept and maintained.
Wow.
And it was through the life arts. That's how it was taught originally. And it's a feminine system, so it's more matriarchal in its approach.
Interesting. I know a little bit about that. When I used to live in Papua New Guinea in a tribal village, they didn't have a written language until we came and gave it to them. But they just passed everything down, stories around the campfire.
That's right.
It's fascinating, right?
It is.
So what first sparked your interest in Tantra?
Sex.
Okay.
Straight up. Yep.
Yeah,
I was doing that. So I'll be honest. So it was. So.
All right. So how so?
Yeah, I was in a dentist office and I was reading. I believe it was GQ. And there was an article about Sting, the musical artist Sting, and his wife Trudy, and this was in '99. And the article basically talked about Sting going and doing this incredible performance and not needing to do a curtain call. Like, he just performed for 3.5 hours straight, and he came off stage pretty fresh. And the reporter was just blown away. Like, how did you just do that?
Wow.
And he said, yeah, I have a yogic practice. I'm like, well, if yoga can do that, I mean, come on. I was like, well, it's a little bit more than yoga. And then apparently it was supposed to be off the record. And he said, my wife and I, we practice Tantra. And he goes, well, what's that? And he says, well, it's a way to really harness your life force in a way that allows you to really get into more of this nuclear energy that's available to all of human beings. And one of the ways it does that is through sensuality and relationship connection. Other ways, like breathing, like chanting, mudras, which is making gestures with your hands or your body. Yeah. And the guy goes, hold on, you said sex? And he says, yeah, you get to elongate your sex. Like, we can have sex for like 8 hours. Well, that became the story, but it was a misunderstanding that wasn't supposed to be on the record.
Wow.
So it affected me because I was like, I want 8 hours of sex. Where do you get that?
Wow. Okay. And there is so much more to Tantra than sex.
And there is. And I didn't know that. I had no concept of what was going on there. But there was something there which was about merging spirituality and intimacy that was interesting to me. It somehow made sense, but I just didn't know what it meant. And so as I started to look for a teacher or somewhere where I could learn this, it just kind of looked, it looked just like sexuality. So I thought, well, okay, well, this is what they're talking about. So I guess this is the route I take. But then when I finally found my first teacher, that wasn't the experience that I had. It was, I went there to learn how to give better to a woman sexually, but what I walked away with was how to have a better relationship with myself, and that was a trip.
Wow. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what has been the biggest transformation in yourself? Like how has it helped you?
So, thousands of ways. And by the way, that just keeps transforming like yesterday. There's still more coming. It just doesn't ever end, it seems. But the easier part to answer there is, what was the first experience that really like knocked me a loop into somewhere new, like another direction?
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I had already been practicing esoteric, so I had a little bit of woo already on me. So
Yeah.
the new age stuff wasn't all that far away. um, so that was easy. But that teacher, she asked me a few questions, which really threw me, and caused a new direction. And the first one was, how are you at having a relationship with yourself? And I looked at her like, what? I really don't know what you're talking about. And then the next one was, when you give, you are in control, and when you receive, you're in surrender. Those two statements right there really changed the trajectory of my life, because I'm a people pleaser, and totally found my happiness in other people's happiness and found my sadness in other people's sadness. And it was very codependent. And this was the first place where I really had to come to some reality around, who am I with myself? And what would it mean to be in relationship with me, rather than constantly validating myself through relations with others?
Wow, you've stopped me in my tracks with giving is about control and receiving is about surrender. Did I say that correctly?
You sure did.
Whoo, I got goosebumps. Like, I mean, I know that, and
I know. I know.
shoot. I am yeah, I just got that on another level. Yeah, I'm a recovering people pleaser as
Yeah.
well. I grew up in a missionary environment, so it was all about that. It was beautiful in lots of ways, and was not taught how to take care of myself. And I didn't even figure I factored in.
Right.
Like, it didn't even occur to me that I factored in.
Me neither.
I remember on a plane, in case of lack of cabin pressure, mask will fall from the ceiling. If you're with your child, put the mask on yourself first and then assist the child. And I literally out loud said, heck no, I would not do that. And the lady next to me says, honey, if you're not around, who's going to take care of the kid? And I was just like, oh, I factor in. And that was the first step. And this was years ago, and I didn't get it hardly at all. But that was the first step where I'm like, wait a second, I factor in. So, relationship with yourself. Tell me what that looks like for you.
It means remembering that I am also an important element, ingredient in this thing called life.
Yeah.
And instead of being of such massive service, but if I'm in depletion, then I'm only offering pollution.
Ooh.
So it's really important that there's a place where I'm really thriving and finding ways to enjoy this thing called life, so then I can really share that from a place of abundance,
Mm-hmm.
rather than depletion or expectation, or even worse, need.
Yeah.
So it did. And those two teachings, between receiving and control, like the surrendered part, and that actual me need to control my life, such a controlling pants I was, that I didn't really trust things. I didn't trust myself, that's for sure, but I also didn't trust others. And I felt that it was hard for me to be truthful in that state either. So it had a cascading effect, and it started early, from alcoholism in the family, to a place of where I was taking care of adults, and being more adult often than my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then not really letting go of that and taking the correct position. So I had to have a reframe. That's it. I just had to have a reframe. So dating myself became an activity. So I actually took myself into a place of how would I court myself if I was to court a lover. How could I do that for myself? How could I give myself the same experience that I'm giving others? I made a lot of adjustments, by the way, because what I found was I was dumping on people pretty heavy.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. We don't realize our energy is like literally puking all over everyone all the time.
Right.
And
And
we
some
think
people are
we're
really
not
down with it.
responsible.
Yes.
Like we are responsible. This is what this show is for. Is
Right.
number one, like you're saying, to wake us up to how amazing life really is, how much joy is possible,
Right.
and take responsibility for the
Right.
shit that we have in
That's
us,
absolutely right. That's
and
right.
not
And
puke it on everyone.
so taking myself away from that behavior gave me the permission to start really making some adjustments and finding experiences that really worked far better for myself. And when I started sharing that with others, I was seeing that they really enjoyed that too, which means all my friendships and my loverships and even things at work just shifted so quickly because I
Yeah.
was able to have a different experience instead of being so passive with the experience of life and relating.
Wow. So how can our peeps here watching, how can we incorporate this into our lives? What are a couple things that we could take home right now? Obviously, I know it's a Pandora's box. It's huge. It's a
Yeah,
huge
I actually wrote a book on this. It's 28 days to self-love. It's called
Oh,
Pathways of Love. And so basically the interesting part to it is the book is just based on these 28 experiences, a moon cycle of having an experience of dating or finding love with yourself.
is that correct?
That's
Pathways to
correct. Yeah, Pathways to Love.
love? Okay.
And so one of the most profound techniques in there or suggestions that people have come back to tell me is to define what love means to you, because what I've come to realize for a lot of people is love is a code word.
It's a code word?
It's a code word. So if
Okay.
I say, Amy Joy, I love you, and you get to feel that,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to put your own definitions on what that means. It may or may not be what I mean,
Right.
but we'll leave it at that for a lot of people will just leave it right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get uncomfortable because it was maybe too soon or it's too intense, or maybe that's not the experience they wanted to have with that person. Other times people really enjoy it, savor it, eat it up, feels really good. But
Yeah.
ultimately, we're still, the receiver is putting their own definition on what that statement means. And so when I realized that I freely use the word love with people, but it was so confusing to watch how many people responded to it in the various ways they did, because I realized what I was saying wasn't really what was being heard. It was how they already have a predefined experience or definition of love is what it was being received as, even though that is sometimes very, very far away from what I meant.
Right.
So to
Yes.
break it down and to actually and love, how could you really define love? It's like baloney. We all have an actual understanding of what love means to us, and to actually put it into context and to decode the word love
Mm-hmm.
really helps people be far more articulate and giving of that word, because they can qualify it with more of what they mean. So if I were to say, so I, if I go to the second example, Amy Joy, I love you. And the reason why I love you is because I know that we get to choose how we walk life together. And I dig that you're walking your path. And I dig that you're so supportive of me walking my path. And I just want to hold your hand when we can and walk this thing. It's cool.
It is cool. Yeah, I get it.
See?
Very, very nice.
So it nourishes a deeper experience. And so instead of me just saying I love someone or I love, I can say I love and then give them the context for where that love is coming from, and all of a sudden it lands in the heart so much deeper and so much more available, and it bypasses the filters that it normally hits. So taking some time and really breaking down what love is to a person, it goes a long, 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 long way.
So I love you, and the reason I love you is I love that. Yeah, I've heard that as well with giving a compliment.
Right.
Right? That's
Yeah.
you're so brave. And the reason I feel that way is because I see it every day when you do this, and then yeah, you can see people just fill up,
Right.
just fill up with the love. Beautiful. I love that nugget. I hope you're writing this down, guys. Humans out there, write that down. That's a nugget right there. Awesome. Amazing. I love you. And the reason I love you is, if we only did that once a day, twice a day, I mean, if we just changed that one thing, woo, big difference.
Or look in the mirror and do it.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like hearing love in your own voice.
Yeah. I still find it a tad tricky.
It is.
Oof.
And sometimes the reason why it's so tricky is that receiving part. It goes back to that. Like, you really have to surrender to give yourself that kind of experience.
Yeah.
There has to be a let go of all of the stories and all of the ideas and the value that we carry for ourselves just to receive that moment of me loving myself.
Well, I'm going to get vulnerable here because I had a kidney infection. You met me at the beginning of that infection and gave us some great advice on how I could get to Mexico and get some antibiotics. So funny. I left Mexico to the States and now I'm in trouble and I go back to Mexico to get the antibiotics. Anyways, I don't like to take meds. I hardly take them and it's really hard for me to take them, but I needed to. And so my friend Wendy Jensen has a book called The Healing Questions Guide. And so today I felt led to look up, what is the left kidney signify? Guess what it said? What's it going to take for you to see your self-worth, And I was like, really? That's it? and I'm like, I feel like I'm doing so much better in that department, but apparently I'm not. And there's work to be done. And then you say it like that, and my whole heart, my whole being goes, stare in the mirror and tell myself I love it.
Right.
Yeah, right? Oof.
Because you like to give like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of people who are watching and listening right now also like to give. And that's a form of how we control our environment. It's how we measure and maintain the amount of energy, because we can dial it into what works for us. And that idea of surrender and to let go, you can't be armored and be surrendered at the same time. It doesn't work.
Can't be armored and surrendered at the same time. Write that down. You can't be armored or surrendered at the same time. Okay, sorry. Yep, keep going.
Okay. So
I want to capture these nuggets.
there's a teaching here, and that teaching is that, okay, so you asked me, when did I start, or how did I get into this whole Tantra thing? So here's a little story that's a metaphor for it all. So one day Shawn was walking around and he had all of his armor on, and it was big, rusty, clunky armor. And I had a big battle axe that was also big, rusty, and clunky. And I was just walking amongst all the other people who had their armor on and their clunky weapons. And we bounced into each other, and no one gets hurt because we're so bounded and so armored up. It's just kind of annoying that we're just bouncing off each other. No one's really getting hurt. And I just sat and I go, you know what? This is so boring. And then I looked up and I saw all these naked people dancing around a tree and laughing and so free. And I wanted that. I really wanted that. So I raised up my visor and I looked up on the hill and I said, hey, how do I get to you? And they said, well, you have to drop your armor and then just climb up the hill. But you can't climb up the hill with your armor on. It'd be too dense. I said, I got to keep my armor on. You got to keep your armor. And they said, we don't. And they went right back to playing with each other. And I looked at them and I felt it. And I recognized that I had bought into something. I'd really bought hook, line, and sinker this concept. No, I have to have my weapons and I have to have my armor because it stinks around here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got a fit of courage and I just threw all my armor off. But I didn't get out of the way of all the other people who had their armor on. So of course I'm dodging and I'm shucking and jiving and I'm naked and I'm like, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. And I didn't realize I was in a briar patch and now my feet are all hurting on thorns, like ow, 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 ow. I make it up the hill and I'm sweaty and I'm bleeding and I'm tired. And I get up on top of the hill where all these people are playing. And I made it. And they're like, good for you. That's awesome. And I'm looking around. Where's my buffet? Where's the fireworks? Like, I made it. And they're like, no. This is how it's supposed to be. This is normal.
Oh.
And I went, what? And they said, this is actually how life is. So, yes, I'm weird, and I continue to be weird because
weird and wonderful. Weird and wonderful. That's what we say around here. Weird and wonderful.
Right. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it's a gauge now.
Yeah.
It's an understanding that I don't need to just follow the roads that have already been built to get someplace that I think I should be, but instead to really embrace the adventurer inside of me. And I have to surrender to be on the adventure. Can't always control the adventure because that's not where it goes. Think about Indiana Jones. He's sitting there in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he's right there. He's right close to this treasure he's been seeking called the Ark of the Covenant. But he opens up the temple and it's full of snakes. And we've already found out snakes are his worst thing.
Worst thing.
He doesn't get back on a plane, go back to Chicago where he lives. He can't do that. There was no way he could wake up the next day. He has to face the adventure in front of him, which is I'm going to have to deal with the snakes because the Ark of the Covenant is too important and I'm right here. I have to see this through. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. And I find this with love and I find this with spirituality and I find this with deep relating. This is it. This is the stuff.
Deep relating. I love that.
So that's my little story.
Amazing. You're the best storyteller. I could just listen to you all day, Shawn. It's like, I just like all in. What's next? What's he going to say next? Amazing. Okay. So, so many questions. What do we need to know? What do we need to know about this subject? What do we need to let go about this subject?
The Tantra and its wisdom is beyond any kind of simple academic approach to learn it. It's something one chooses to have a relationship with. It's not something to learn or to practice or to do. It's something to relate with, because you can't really learn Tantra. You can only remember it. It's already deep inside of you somewhere. And what it comes back to you. It awakens parts of you that remembers the deeper places of being a human being, to being accessing your soul, to how to connect with other human beings and to things, how to communicate, to trust, to use your intuition. Like, these are super important to the human experience, and how often are we just numb to them? And that's where Tantra comes in. And I understand in the 80s, really in the 70s, but mostly in the 80s, that Tantra became and was relegated as kind of a new age kink. It was a place of sexuality and relationship that had the word sacred in front of it. Sacred relationships, sacred sexuality. And that's such a limited perspective of what this wisdom's offering. And yes, it includes that, because it says that sex is rocket fuel. But we have to redefine what we have been given around what sex is to really understand what Tantra is talking about when it comes to sexuality. It's just a redefinition completely around what sex is.
Can you define what sex is?
For me.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
It's the most articulate and perfect communication method. It's a place to meditate so deeply that you see the eyes of source and recognize you're looking at yourself. It's an esoteric experience where the mysteries have answers that are given to you that you didn't even know you had questions for. It's way beyond pleasure, and it's in love. They're just residuals to this. It's such a deep, deep, deep access point.
Mm-hmm.
And when a person is willing to include those things, it only increase the amount of love, or the only increase the amount of pleasure that they experience. And then all of a sudden, our genital pleasure isn't the thing that is the draw or the nature to it. Instead, it's like entering into the temple that really makes the human experience that much more attainable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. It's big.
It's gargantuan.
It's words don't really work, right?
Exactly. It's a feeling, it's a knowing, it's an understanding. Yeah, it's all those things.
Yeah.
Right. But then I think that's where a lot of the longing and the pain in so many people's lives are around sexuality, is because they haven't been met in that way. They haven't been given the opportunity to play and explore in that area. So instead, they're waiting for it. They're longing for it.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't come, because there's fantasies, because people aren't connecting, because there's power exchange going on, because there's abuses that have happened, because people don't like their bodies, because because of the expense of not only what it means to be in that deep of a relationship with someone, but also the possibility of children might come about. I mean, all these things come into people, and all those things are lovely too, but sometimes they cause a log jam for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, and then you add all the sexual assaults and the sexual abuse, and
that's right.
horrible. 1 in 3, I think it is now, women sexually assaulted. 1 in 5
right.
men, boys. Terrible, terrible. And
It is, and then take that and now stuff it, and let's not talk about that.
right. Oh, I know.
So now all of a sudden it just gets really messy, and kind of if we took that leftovers from that really great restaurant we had, and we just put it in the refrigerator and forgot about it, it's going to get messy.
Yeah.
And it has to be cleaned up, or it just gets thrown out. And that's exactly what people do with their sexuality.
Oof. Yes, it's true. True. Huh. I've found that the 3 most prominent programs that currently run, at least in our Western culture, I can't speak for the world, but is that love is control, love is physical sex, and love is jealous. That's the current program, and it's shit. It's not true. And yet that's what most people think it is. It's yeah, we got to do something about it. And I know that's what you're passionate about. I know that's why you're doing what you're doing, is to let people know about
Remind people to come home.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
And honestly, I think the sisters on the planet have they're further along in this understanding than the brothers. And the reason why I say that is because women really see the large picture. They see the whole they see the whole field. Whereas a lot of the brothers, they're really what's in front of them right now. What's in front of me right here and right now.
Single focus.
Yes. So what happens is there's a disconnect already happening with going deep.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the next part is, I do find that a lot of times, and I understand I'm speaking heteronormative, but what I'm saying is that energetically, women's energy moves differently than masculine energy, or the male energy. So women's energy comes from the 7th chakra and goes down to the 1st chakra, whereas men's moves from the 1st to the 7th, goes up to the top, to the crown and the chakra system. Okay. So what happens is that there's a different approach to this whole thing. There's so much more that has to occur.
And understanding both is
polarity. We need polarity. Yeah. Polarity is so important for abundance. Polarity is so important to create energy, whether it be spiritual or love or finances or magic. It doesn't matter. We need polarity in the 3rd dimension. That's where we are. We play within the polarity. So if I don't understand the other polarity, or if I'm not understanding that other polarity within myself, I'm handicapping the whole experience.
Wow. So where can people go to have a session or to get more help to open the door to this
Deep within
amazing
themselves.
deep within themselves? Yes, with
And
help.
if they would like to have some support with that, they can go to tantraquest.com. That's my website. And it's a place to start. It's a place where people can find some more information and to start to explore tantra. But also, I do offer sessions, and I also whether it's in person or Zoom. And um, you know, I'd love to offer a gift to the people who are watching today.
Thank you so much. Yes, Shawn's got 20% off, y'all. 20% off. So go to tantraquest.com, go to session section of the website. It's a beautiful website. Lots of great, clear steps in understanding of this whole thing. And go to do Amy J20, Amy J20, and you'll receive 20% off. And he will know that you guys came from this show. That's amazing. I hope you do. Just so you know, I'm going to be signing up myself. I'm being called. I'm being called to remember, my friend. I'm being called to remember.
That's beautiful. And that's really the desire is to help people come back into embodiment and empowerment. I'm not into the healing thing personally. I'm not poo-pooing it, but my work is about helping people come home and really be alive with exactly where they are. And that's where your opening invitation to raise our energy came to. That's it. That's the gig right there. Is that there's so much in front of us right now. And if we can get there, then happiness just it floods in. And I find it's the same thing.
Ooh, okay. Well, I can relate to that. Because this is that we have a choice. That we have a choice. We have a choice. Have I mentioned we have a choice? We have a choice.
I think we have a choice.
Right? We totally have a choice. And I'm being ridiculous, and it's on purpose. Yeah. Because you have a choice, because we have a program that says we don't have choices, and it's not true. It's not true. We have a choice to be happy. We have a choice to remember. We have a choice. We have a choice. And all I want is so much love and joy for y'all. That's all I want. That's all I want. Peace, joy, love, ecstasy.
As we want that for you.
Thank you. I receive.
Yay! Yay!
Ooh, I got that without resistance. Thank you. Oh, Shawn, you're so wonderful. I appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you too.
All right. Well, we're out of time. It's crazy how fast this goes, but I'm going to have you on at the end. I'm going to ask you this very important question, which is, if you were on a mountaintop and you had the whole world gathered around and they were actually paying attention and you had one thing to share, what would that be? We want to hear about it. And right now it's Mantra Magic. But before that, I have a very cool vibe bed. It's called the Vibe. I have one. It's amazing. And I want you guys to know about it too, because it can also help release trauma from the body, and it helps raise your frequency. And it's another tool. So I'm going to show you that, and then we'll be back for Mantra Magic. Mantra Magic. This is the part of the show where we put a new program in. we replace the one that's saying life's hard and I'm blah blah blah, all the things that make us feel shitty. We're going to replace it with something that makes us feel great. So this is Maria Ishtali and I. This is a beautiful song that she wrote that we're singing together for you, and it's posted every week on Friday on Amy Joy Coaching on Instagram. So you can go catch that and get your mantra for the week. Here we go.
And welcome to Mantra Magic. My name is Maria Jolie and I'm here with Amy Joy. And today we're going to share a song that I wrote like 2 years ago that is about remaining open to the magic of the unknown. And we hope that you like it. Ooh, la 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 la.
Make today glorious. All right. I can feel the magic within, the divine magic within. Yeah? Beautiful. All right. It is that time for meditation moment. All right. This is the time where we take 5 minutes. So grab the kids, grab the grandkids, grab everybody around right now. Have a seat. Sit wherever you are comfortably. We're just going to take 5 minutes to come home and to be here right now. I'm going to play beautiful music from the amazing Gary Malkin, 7-time Emmy winner. You can find his beautiful Islands of Inner Peace on Gaia, and he shared this piece with us today. So take a deep breath and exhale and smile. And right now, I want you to just observe, how do you feel right now? Do you feel crappy or do you feel happy? And don't make it right or wrong or good or bad. Just notice. Just observe. And breathe. And then observe, what are your thoughts right now? Thoughts of the past or more thoughts of the future? Or are they thoughts of right here, right now? Again, don't make it right or wrong or good or bad. Just notice. And breathe. Now I want you to visualize a candle burning right in front of your eyes. Just notice the colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the whites, the golds. Watch it flicker there. And breathe. And then slowly move that flame into the center of your head. And watch it flicker there. With your hands on your heart, I want you to think of one thing that you are so grateful for. So grateful it makes you smile. Then hold that thought. While you're in this expanded space, I'm going to send you an energetic activation. This is sent with so much love. And the reason I love you is you are the divine. The divine is in you. You exist. Therefore, that is enough. With a deep breath in, holding at the top, and exhaling. Wiggling your fingers and your toes, come back. Smiling. So grateful to be alive. All right, I am going to bring Shawn back on. Hey.
Hi.
How was that for you?
Beautiful. Thank you for that journey.
So good just to take 5 minutes like that. It's yummy.
And it's cheap too.
Pardon?
It's cheap too.
It's so cheap. You can go to YouTube. It's called Serene Mind Practice. And it's from some of my beautiful spiritual teachers in India. And Serene Mind Practice on YouTube. Yes, do it multiple times a day. It'll change your life. So good. All right, Shawn. So you're at the top of a mountain. You got the whole planet listening, actually paying attention. And you have one thing to share. What is it?
If the question, how do I, comes up, reframe it to what's in the way and watch the thousands of ways you can have that come to you.
Can you say that again, please?
Whenever the question, how do I blank, comes in, just reframe it to what's in the way.
What's in the way? That's so good. I've never heard that. Oh, that's so good. I love excellent questions. We are full of really shitty questions. When you ask a shitty question, you get a shitty answer. And when you ask an excellent question like that one, woo, you get an excellent answer. Yeah. All right. So if you ask the question,
how do I blank?
How do I blank? You reframe it to what's in the way. That's so good. I love it. All right. Amazing. Well, we're like out of time. It's so crazy how fast this goes. Shawn, I love you.
I love you
I
too.
love you. And the reason I love you is I feel your heart, man. I feel your heart. I feel your intention. It's so pure. You're just joy to me. I've enjoyed every moment that I've had with you, and I know it's been brief, but I see you, and thank you. I love you.
I love you too, and you embody innocence and wisdom at the same time, which is such mastery. Thank you.
Aw. I receive that with love and grace. All right, guys, thank you for being here with us. Appreciate you spending your precious time. Remember that together we vibrate higher, and that, my friends, changes the world. We'll see you next week. Besos. Mwah. Thank you for watching Get Your Shit Together live with Amy Joy. If you'd like to follow us, you can on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Amy Joy Coaching. Appreciate so much your likes, comments, and shares. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please reach out. We'll see you next time.